Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. This week is going to be far better than what we saw last week as far as weather is concerned, with temperatures basically returning to near to actually above normal temperatures by the end of this week, and high pressure generally in control for much of this week. However, we do have some minor threats for rain, so let's take a look at this forecast. This is the surface map as of this morning at 8 a.m. and you can see high pressures generally around most of the northern Atlantic up through eastern Canada. We do have a few weak disturbances moving through with some minor cold fronts, but they do not have any type of precipitation whatsoever with them. And for the most part today we'll experience scattered clouds with temperatures averaging near normal in the upper 40s over the interior and lower to mid 50s along the coast. So overall, not a bad day for March, and perfect time to get ready and fill out your brackets for the NCAA tournament, which I've already done. So there is potential for some rain on Wednesday with an area low pressure that is currently over the Oklahoma-Arkansas border. Let's take a look at the latest water vapor satellite picture, and I'm going to show you exactly what I'm expecting with this disturbance. Now this disturbance is the same disturbance from last week where we were discussing where I thought the model guidance was handling this disturbance wrong. It was trying to drive it into the southeast, cut it off, and try to produce a rather impressive ocean storm or coastal storm for Wednesday. As I was suspecting, that's clearly not going to happen as we are in a very progressive pattern, and as a result, our disturbance that is currently over the southern plains and moving into the Mississippi River Valley will move towards the St. Lawrence River Valley because we have a ridge off the east coast and we have a trough over eastern Canada. Now, the important aspect with this type of pattern is that we're in what's called a convergent flow. That means winds are coming together, and that's very important because that means that this disturbance is going to weaken, because when you have convergence over an upper level low or any type of surface low pressure system, you basically choke off the lifting capabilities of the low pressure system. Think of it like driving your car and you have a stick shift and you choke the car too much and the engine dies. Well, it's basically the same idea where you're basically choking off the lifting process for this upper level low. So what I'm expecting is that this upper level low is to lift north and eventually weaken, and by the time it reaches the northern mid-Atlantic, we can expect a few scattered showers, but nothing significant as far as heavy rainfall or anything of that nature. We'll have a period of light rain on Wednesday evening, and behind this disturbance it actually gets warmer because the air mass behind this disturbance is of a Pacific origin, and the Pacific air mass is moving over the southern plains and will modify significantly, bringing much warmer weather conditions to the northern mid-Atlantic on Thursday and Friday. Now when we look at the model guidance, we can continue to see a rather progressive pattern in place. Now this is the European model guidance from the Penn State EWOL, and first thing I want to point out is that we do not have any way, shape, or form a negative annual pattern. What we have is a polar vortex that's basically sitting around Greenland and northeastern Canada, and that's going to keep all the cold air locked up in Canada. We also have a very progressive, fast-moving Pacific pattern with a trough over the west coast, and that means we are going to have a ridge on the east coast. These disturbances that are moving towards the northern Atlantic are going to weaken because they're exiting out of the trough and then moving under an upper level low, and that again is what we call a convergent pattern. So as a result, as these disturbances move east, they weaken and don't pack much of a punch. When we look at the mid-level, you see that it's going to be rather warm. We're looking at temperatures over 10 degrees Celsius on Friday afternoon. Now there is a cold front that will be approaching, but really it doesn't have much in the way of moisture with it. You can see that the Gulf of Mexico is cut off with dry air along the Gulf Coast. That clearly means we're going to have high pressure sitting over there. And with a lack of moisture coming in from the Atlantic, this cold front will be limited in precipitation. So I'm only expecting a few scattered showers on Friday evening. But the point here that I want to really bring out is that temperatures are going to get very warm on Friday afternoon. I would not be surprised if Philadelphia sees 70 degrees. Now, this is by the 20th, or close to the 20th, should I say. And as you can see, I know that some people were advertising the chance for a major storm or a snowstorm or some nonsense of that matter, but you can see there's clearly no way, shape, or form of any type of potential winter storm whatsoever along the East Coast, even as far north as Maine, because the coldest air is all locked up in Canada because we have a positive Arctic oscillation. And a quick look at the surface map for Friday evening, you could see that we have a very weak cold front moving through, and then there's high pressure pretty much surrounding around this area low pressure and the cold front on Friday night. So what can we expect for next weekend? Because we all know we're already making plans for the weekend. And the great news is that at 500 millibars, we have a ridge over much of the eastern United States by Sunday evening. What this basically means is that any low pressure system or a storm that would track towards the northeast would be shoved up into Canada. Our polar vortex is well to the north. We have a trough in the west, which means we're going to have a southwesterly wind in the east, and that means warm conditions. At the mid-levels, we have pretty much dry air sitting over the northern mid-Atlantic, which basically means high pressure. And at the mid-levels, at the very least, we remain relatively warm with 850 millibar temperatures above freezing, which generally puts us in a ballpark of near normal temperatures that would be supported at this level. And then at the surface, you can see high pressure is going to be sitting over the northern mid-Atlantic on Saturday and Sunday. Now, one of the key questions going into next weekend is whether the high pressure system is sitting over the Hudson Bay or the high pressure system sitting off the Delmarva Peninsula. Which one of those is going to be the dominant high pressure system out of the two? If the high pressure system off the Delmarva Peninsula is a dominant feature, then what we can expect is not only southwesterly winds, but also temperatures pushing into the 60s rather than the 50s. But overall, I mean, next weekend is going to be beautiful, dry, and relatively comfortable. So this week, pretty much what we can look for is one or two minor rain events, not producing much in the way of precipitation really, possibly up to a half an inch and a heavy downpour, but that's about it. And otherwise, high pressure is going to be in control for the majority of this week into next weekend. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your weather source for the northern mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have an excellent day.